Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we meet the new director of the Norfolk County RSVP program. We'll also be joined by the chair of the Norfolk County Commissioners. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, it's 65 degrees with overcast skies, a little bit of brightening. Most of the showers have come to an end. The rest of the day will be generally cloudy with temperatures right around 70 degrees. For this evening, some more showers roll in late. Lows drop off into the mid-50s. And the last weekend of April starts out wet and cool. Periods of rain tomorrow with temperatures only in the low 60s. Matter of fact, the rain tomorrow has forced the cancellation of the soft rock concert that was scheduled for the Hancock Adams Common in Quincy Center, unfortunately, but it will be a wet day. Temperatures tomorrow night dropping off into the upper 40s. A little better on Sunday. Mix of sun and clouds. It'll be breezy but chilly. High Sunday only into the low to mid 50s. And of course, Monday will be beautiful. Back to school and back to work. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the low 70s. Again, we have 65 degrees with clouds in Quincy right now. Checking out the news for you today, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch says that next year's city budget will be rising substantially to cover the payments on the $475 million bond that the city approved to pay off its pension obligations.
Based on all the outside agencies and bond rating agencies, that was always a kicker. So we made the decision to fully fund it when the interest rates were at a historic low. So we got major funding, and we got 2.62% interest rate on it, fully funding our system. Now, if we had not done that, each of the next several years until 2040, we would have seen drastic increases every year to get to fully funding the system. What I'm getting at, Joe, is this is the peak year on the debt service. So this year's debt service line goes up dramatically, affecting the budget because of that. But it still was the right decision. We predicted this was going to happen in the budget. So that will be a big number that we have to deal with. But again, we were projecting that to happen, and it's still we'll still be saving, well over $100 million during the course of the 19 years that it was done. So it was a good business decision.
Now, the current year's city budget of $424 million was up 4.5% over 2024, about $18 million. Mayor said he does not have the final figure for the new budget. However, he will be presenting it to the City Council on May 5th. Quincy City Council recently honored two high school basketball players who each reached the 1,000-point scoring level in their respective careers this year. North Quincy High School senior guard Kobe Wynn and Quincy High senior forward Alyssa Hops and their teammates were all honored during the April 14th City Council meeting at City Hall. Councilor at Large Scott Campbell said that both students are role models on and off the court.
If you're looking for someone to be a role model to the younger kids coming up and just show them about work ethic and hard work and just being a team player, he was always working. Anytime you drove by or you were in the gym, you saw him working out, the dribbling, passing, shooting, every possible work that he could do, he did. And he was a leader all throughout. In this past year, he led the team to a 14-2 record. He had a 19-4 overall record. He had 34 points against Madison Park, where he tied a school record with 8 three-point field goals made. He had 27 points against Durfee, and all around was a tremendous kid, Patriot League All-Star. Really, anything that this kid wants to accomplish, I know he will. Alyssa is an extraordinary athlete. She's an extraordinary student. She was an all-scholastic in volleyball, player of the year for her freshman, sophomore, and junior year at Quincy High School. She, really any type of award that she could receive, she did, and I couldn't be prouder of her. I feel like to my older daughter, she was that teammate that she loved to play with, and to my younger daughter, she is the role model that I hope that she aspires to be, because she's that kind of a player.
Hops and Wynn became the 19th and 20th players in city history to score 1,000 points this past season. Both were chosen as Patriot League All-Stars. Hops will attend Babson College this fall. Wynn's plans were still undecided. 1,000 people are expected to participate in tomorrow's 51st annual Stop the Stigma 5K road race to benefit Interfaith Social Services here in Quincy. Participants will gather at the Kennedy Center tomorrow at 9:30, rain or shine, to raise funds for Interfaith's New Directions Counseling Center. The event is held every year to support the mental health counseling program and also to remove the stigma associated with the treatment of mental health issues. The event began as the South Shore Walk, transformed to Stop the Stigma 8 years ago. The New Directions Counseling Center offers the first 4 mental health counseling sessions free of charge, then offers services on a sliding scale fee structure. This year's event expected to raise at least $150,000. Well, the MBTA is testing out their new electric buses that will be stored and maintained at the new garage that's being built on Bergen Parkway in Quincy. 10 of the new battery electric buses are currently being tested on the streets of Boston. Recently, the T did produce a video explaining how the new buses are different from their diesel buses.
My name is Ben Ubamadu. I am the Deputy Director for Buses. There are many, many advantages to battery electric buses. The first one that you will notice is that they're quiet. They're easy to operate in neighborhoods. A great deal of the advantages in the environmental area. There are no emissions, nothing coming out of the tailpipe. We have kept the buses from the outside and on the interior to be the same. It saves us a lot in training. It saves us a lot in orientation with our drivers. We have done some things different on the outside to give it a different paint scheme, so people can recognize that it is an electric bus. But in general, we want to keep the buses as much the same as possible. The end goal by state mandate is to be 100% non-emissions vehicle, and that's coming in the 2030s and 2040s. These 10 buses that we're getting this year are pilot vehicles to give us an opportunity to try them out in our streets, try them out in our environment. All of the support services have to be trained and have to become familiar with these buses because there is a great deal of new technology in these buses.
I'm John Pellegrino, and I'm the Technical Project Manager for new buses in the Vehicle Engineering Department. So the battery electric buses have 6 strings of batteries. There's 4 on the roof and 2 in the rear. This bus is also equipped with a system called Mobileye, which is a driver's awareness system. It gives the drivers alerts for pedestrians or cyclists or other vehicles on the road that are basically in the bus's path. Right now we're doing range testing, so we have the bus loaded up with water barrels to simulate a fully loaded bus to see what kind of range we get and to make sure that the batteries can meet all of our service requirements. Our goal is to provide enough range so that the operations department has to change their scheduling and route planning as little as possible to meet their service needs without the bus having to recharge or go back to the garage.
The T has ordered 80 of those battery electric buses at a cost of $1.4 million each, for a total of $119 million. T says the new buses will be stored at the new Quincy garage when that's completed in early 2027 and at a newly renovated bus facility in Cambridge. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, the new director of the Norfolk County RSVP program and the chairman of the county commissioners will be joining us next. Welcome back. Happy to feature the Norfolk County RSVP program here currently in Quincy for many years now under the former director, Bob Pearson. There's a new director, and joining her is the chair of the county commissioners, which helps to fund the RSVP program. So please welcome Lucille Cassis and Joe Shea. Hey!
Hi, Joe. Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Good. Familiar faces, both of you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Perhaps, yeah. Lucille, congratulations on your new role as director. Joe, always a pleasure to catch up with you. So thanks for coming over. We'll probably start with you, Joe, because you are our resident historian when it comes to all things Quincy and county.
Well, it is, the county is actually much old. The county was 1793.
Yeah, it goes back a few
As
years.
a county, yeah. And
But-
it's still functioning.
Yes.
And it's amazing because when I went to the county in 2016, there's always talk that they're going to do away with the counties. And in fact, the state did away with most of the counties in the 90s. But what did they do? They kept 4 counties in the southeastern part of the state:
How about that?
Norfolk,
Yep.
Plymouth, Barnstable, and Bristol. And
And here we are.
we're still here. We're still functioning.
Yeah.
We had a huge change in the last years with the opera funds that were just completing the distribution of it. We banded together as four counties, got the same law firms, the same accounting firms, and worked with Uncle Sam, and it was a booming success. And I don't think you're going to see a program like that again in the near future, but it was a lifeline.
Yeah.
And a help to all the cities and towns. And I'm not here to report on opera, but that could be another whole thing.
Yeah, we should do that in the future, actually.
80% of the opera funds went to infrastructure, water, sewer.
As they were intended, right?
It's what it was intended,
Right.
and then other good uses too.
Sure.
And we really kind of get on the map, so to speak, after 400 years.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have a program here that we've had it for about 20 years. I'm told that we inherited from QCAP.
RSVP was QCAP originally?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And the whole program idea comes out of the older American Act of 1965.
Okay.
Started in New York City, so it isn't that old.
Yeah.
But we have been successfully managing it. You mentioned Robert. Robert just retired.
Yes, yeah. 10
And
years
then-
at the helm
and-
there, I think.
And yeah, Robert was there, a little over 10,
Yeah.
same as me. And we bid Robert adieu, and Chris is still with us.
Chris Goldsmith, yeah.
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 And we were able to hire Lucille,
Yes.
and no stranger.
At all. No,
Right.
no.
I mean, her background is well known, and she keeps the connections through her work at the Lions Club. But I go way back with Lucille because she worked in the Sheriff's Department
Oh, I didn't know
with
that.
my wife.
Oh, I didn't know that, Joe.
I guess in the 90s. Could have been the 80s, but I won't.
Okay.
won't-
Yeah, let's not go there, Joe.
You and I
So we
met
have
a connection.
a connection. We
Yeah.
have a proved product here,
Yeah.
When our director, John Cronin, said, I've got 4 or 5 resumes I'm going to interview
Yeah.
to succeed Robert. And, a couple were from Quincy, and Lucille's from Braintree, one thing or another. And he said, I looked at one, and maybe you know her. And so I looked at it. I said, of course I know her. And
Sure. And here we are.
family friend, etc.
Yeah. Well, Lucille, you and
My
I
brother.
became acquainted when you worked at Father Bill's.
That's correct.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
A while back.
How long ago was that?
So I was there from 2008 to 2017.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, about
And-
10 years.
Yeah. So, and prior to that?
I was with Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth,
Oh.
which it used to be Jordan Hospital.
Yeah, sure.
I was their director of marketing for another decade
Okay.
or so. So I'm dating myself, but all jobs I think that are community-based, nonprofit.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my heart is.
Yeah. What was it about it that the RSVP program that attracted you?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it online. I wasn't, really looking.
Yeah.
I was doing some consulting at that point.
Okay.
And what attracted me was when I was at Father Bill's, I managed almost about 350 volunteers who worked in the kitchens and, distributing donations that we would get in to folks that were moving into new housing
Sure.
and whatnot. And I just really enjoyed that part of the job. I did a lot of the fundraising, of course, and marketing, but that was a favorite. I loved meeting with the kitchen volunteers and talking to them about why they do what they do.
Yeah.
And when I saw this, I thought it was really a combination of everything that I had experienced, and I could focus on the volunteerism and go do that across the county in all these various nonprofits that I knew about, and I could place them because I knew how it operated and who would be a good fit.
Yep.
So I felt like it was made for me, to be honest.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Once again. I guess for folks who don't know, we should give them just a little overview of what RSVP
Right.
is, right?
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
You want to take that one, Joe? Or
No, you can
No?
do it.
Oh, okay. He wants me to
I know
do
what it is, though.
Okay. So RSVP is an acronym that stands for
Right.
Retired Senior Volunteer Program. It's not just, on your invitation. So it's another use of the
Yeah.
acronym. But basically, we have on our roster about 200 volunteers, and everyone in our program is 55 and older.
Yes.
So it was really designed to keep people active and engaged in the community as they age themselves.
Yep.
And there's so many great roles that we've developed, that Robert really developed over the last decade and prior, all these relationships that he built. So, folks are doing food pantry work, they're doing rides for vets, which I'll talk about in a moment.
Signature
It's our
program,
kind of
right?
our signature program. We're working at the VAs as ambassadors.
Sure.
We're also doing financial literacy for seniors who, excuse me, may have trouble paying their bills as they get older, which is a wonderful opportunity for folks to help out seniors in the community. And the whole idea was, from the AmeriCorps side, from the federal program, was to keep seniors in their homes as long as possible and
Yes.
keep them independent
Yep.
as long as possible. So really, it's seniors helping seniors.
Right.
Yeah.
Seeing as we're talking about some of the volunteers, we have some pictures
Oh, great.
of some
Good.
of the volunteers that we've never kind of highlighted them before when we talk
Yeah.
about RSVP. So it's kind of a nice thing to do, to showcase.
Oh, I'd
them.
love
So,
that.
Yeah. So let's show some folks
see,
here.
there's that's the VA. So this woman on the right-hand side, her name is Rosemary, and next to her is Chuck. And in the middle is our commissioner, one of our
Commissioner
commissioners,
Stady.
Commissioner
Yes.
Richard Stady from
Yes.
Canton. And this is Peter Tribuna. He's the volunteer coordinator at the VA in Roxbury. And we
Roxbury.
took a picture.
West Roxbury. you mean.
West Roxbury,
Yeah.
sorry. And we took a picture recently with Rosemary's 90 years old.
Wow.
And she's so spry.
for
And
her.
we did a feature on her for our newsletter.
Okay.
But the Afghans are also made by seniors, which
are
is kind of fun. So
Nice,
they're from
yeah.
the Franklin, Norfolk, Walpole, and Sharon area. So they're volunteers themselves at the councils on aging. They make the Afghans for the veterans.
Ah,
and
nice. Okay.
you would think, okay, what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm,
But if you talk to Peter Tribuna, he'll tell you that the patients absolutely
Love them,
these
yeah.
blankets, because a lot of times when you're at the VA, you're a disabled veteran.
Yep.
You're in there for a long time. Sometimes you have surgery, or you're recovering for a long time and convalescing, and they actually have a place where the families stay, the Fisher House. They stay
I see.
with their veteran on campus so they can visit.
Okay.
And they absolutely love these Afghans, and you can see they're in patriotic
Beautiful.
colors
Yeah, yeah.
and whatnot.
Let's bring up the next one and see
Yeah.
what we
They're awesome.
have for you.
So these are the actual knitters.
The knitters, okay, yeah.
They're-
Club here.
There they are.
Very nice, yeah.
And of course, they do all kinds of other things at the Council on Aging as well.
Sure.
But these are RSVP volunteers
Nice.
that get together religiously and make these Afghans.
Nice. A couple more to,
Yep.
to show folks.
Oh, this is Helen Early. She also is an Afghaner. That's a hat. That
was-
thing is
I was
actually a
gonna ask
hat
what
that
that
she's
was.
making.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But she's a longtime knitter, and her husband was a veteran,
Ah.
and really feels strongly about supporting veterans.
Absolutely,
So-
yeah. I think we have one or two more to
Yep.
show.
Oh, this is Walter. He's also 90 plus. He'd be embarrassed that I put his picture up here.
Oh, in
But,
that case, we should definitely do it. Yeah.
Walter's so shy, but he's been with the VA for, gosh, maybe 20 years now.
Good for you, Walter. Thank you.
Yeah, and he greets the visitors, and that's what the ambassadors do.
It's important. It's
and
important
he's an
work.
RSVP volunteer. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He makes them feel very welcomed,
Yeah.
and safe.
Yep. Yep.
Coming to the VA.
Sure.
This gentleman, he was before my time, so unfortunately I can't recall his name,
Okay.
but he's a driver. So we have our Rides for Vets program, and he's a vet himself. Obviously, he's a Marine.
Yep.
He was a longtime driver, and I think he's retired now himself, but we really need drivers for the Rides for Vets program. We had a
Yes.
very busy month this month, and we pride ourselves in being able to fulfill every ride. So we match a volunteer with the rider, and we also often take their families to appointments because if you're a veteran spouse, you
Yeah.
get to go to the VA as well.
Seeing as we're talking about it, Lucille,
Yeah.
the Rides for Vets program, who can be a volunteer in that program, and how does that happen?
So again, you have to be a licensed driver. We
Okay.
do a Corey check to make sure there's nothing awry.
Sure.
You have to have a clean driving record. You have to be 55.
Okay.
And you have to have your own vehicle.
Okay. Okay.
However, we give mileage reimbursement for drivers who are taking folks to their appointments. And a
Right.
lot of times people, they can make their own schedule. They don't have to do a ride every week. They
Okay.
can just pick up rides. We have an online system that they sign up
Yes,
for.
yeah.
And it's great. They'll pick a ride if they can do it, and they take the veteran either mostly to the 3 VAs, Brockton, Jamaica Plain, and West Roxbury, but they do take them to private appointments
Yeah,
as
okay.
well.
They can reach out to you. We've been putting up your phone number and your
Yes.
website as well, so folks can reach out to you that way.
Yes.
Before we run out of time, I
Sure.
want to ask Joe about how RSVP is funded, Joe, and what the changes
Well-
going on in Washington might mean for the future.
For 20 years, we've been receiving a grant from Uncle Sam,
Okay.
and we subsubmitted. It isn't entirely, but it's hopefully it's here to stay. But it would be a hardship if we didn't get the grant. But
Right.
we'd hate to stop this program, and we don't have any intention of doing it now. But we hear very little.
Yeah.
Our director, John Cronin, is working with the federal people that we work with, and I know there's been some changes in the office, but it's a thing. It's almost like we don't want to ask, but I believe the yearly funding comes out in September. So
September,
as of
okay.
now. But again, we there are county funds augmenting the federal funds, but
Right.
because it was such a success. We were willing to work out. At one time, we also had, through this program, a Veterans Service officer for some of the smaller communities that didn't have one, and he retired. And I had hopes of looking at it again, and I had spoke to Lucille about in the future if we had some room to get back into servicing veterans a little bit through the VSO also, but
Uncertainty.
we'll cross that
seems-
bridge when we come to it.
I was going to say, yeah.
If I had known 5 or 6 months ago what's happening now, or
Yeah.
before the change of administration, I said to myself one night, gee, too bad I didn't take a chunk of opera money and put it towards this.
Oh, interesting,
But
yeah.
we didn't see it that way at
Right.
that time.
Yeah.
But we hope to continue it. But
Okay. All right. There are no answers right now because nobody knows, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's-
And you would think something that's down the line, so to speak, would not be looked at, but I guess it will be. I don't know how the whole thing works.
Yeah.
But, we're happy to accept it, but it'd be hard. But believe me, when you see at our annual luncheon, it's in August of every year, where we honor the volunteers.
Yes.
And we have them come up and tell their favorite story, or the people they took, carried for years and they were no longer. I mean, it's very, very heartening to go to that luncheon and see, volunteers that give them time. And they're generally, although you have to be 55 or older,
Yeah.
most of them are in their 80s.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's we do have a couple in their 50s, and
Yeah.
you know, and it's great to see them, and we try to, you know, but it's heartwarming. But
Yeah.
Well, it's, you know, what
we
they
could
always,
use more volunteers, and
For
they would be
sure.
drivers.
what they always say is volunteers get more than they give, and I'm
Oh,
sure you see
yeah.
that all the time at the RSVP
There's no question about it.
program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
mean,
love it.
Hopefully, we've shined a little bit of a spotlight on the program and
Okay.
get you some new
Thank you.
volunteers.
Thanks a million.
You are welcome. Always.
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much, Joe. It's been a pleasure.
Check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. The rain should be done. I don't think we'll have a lot of sunshine, but no more rain. Highs around 70 degrees. We do have more rain moving in, though. Don't worry. For late tonight and most of the day tomorrow, with off and on showers, some heavier rain, low 60s. Better on Sunday, kind of breezy and chilly, mid 50s, and beautiful, of course, on Monday with sunshine and highs in the low 70s. Thanks again to Joe Shea, Lucille Casas for joining us from the
Thank you very
RSVP
much.
program.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. Speaking of Monday, here on the program, John McDonald from JM Productions telling us about some Quincy 400 events that will be happening later this year. Meantime, check our website. It's qatv.org. All of our latest programs are there. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, much more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great weekend.